Welcome, everyone, to another episode of LLD Conversations. I'm going to be your host this morning, David Brackett. I'm also the chair of the LLD work group here with the NCIHC. And I'm really excited to be talking with you all today because I get to have a spirited conversation with a real leader in our industry. Today, we get to sit down with Jeannette Stewart. I'm going to give you a brief bio on Jeannette so you get to understand who she is and why are we sitting here talking with her today. Jeannette Stewart is a strategic leader and has worked with mainstream brands, helping them achieve global growth, business revitalization, and transformation. She currently is leading international launches for the Nest and Pixel devices at Google. She founded Translation Commons, an online volunteer-based public charity aiming to offer and share tools and resources to facilitate community initiatives. She is the former CEO of CommuniCare, a life science translation company with offices in London, Paris, Athens, Budapest, and Los Angeles. Jeannette has been involved in high-profile projects such as the Genome Project and prototyping the online unified submission process for the European Medicine Agency. Jeannette has founded, served on board of directors, moderated, and volunteers in various educational health charities. So without further ado, Jeannette, thank you so much for being with us here today.
It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to share a lot of things that we're doing at Translation Commons.
Very, very exciting to learn about, and I can't wait for everyone to get to hear what's going on, and ultimately why does it matter, and how can they get involved. And so, just so everyone knows, where are you joining us here from today in the world?
I'm in Foster City in the Bay Area.
Beautiful. How's the weather today?
Today it's beautiful. I think it's the first day of spring today.
That's kind of what it feels like as well. I'm in Southern California, and that's kind of what it's feeling like. It's gonna be really, really nice today. So we're blessed over here on the West Coast. Hopefully everyone else is experiencing some sunshine today wherever you're at in the world. So Jeannette, to get us kicked off here, briefly describe a little bit of your background. How did you get started in the language access industry?
Very good question. First of all, my dad was a visionary. So when I was in college doing a business degree, I was bilingual because I grew up both in Greece and in the US. He said to me, the future is languages. And true enough, during my very first job in a pharmaceutical industry, I was advertising coordinator and I was a buyer of translation, and I couldn't find good medical Greek translators in Greece at the time. So I said to the medical director, if you get me a good dictionary, I am bilingual, maybe I can do it, but I need your assistance on the medical terms. And that's how I learned how to do medical translation over, of course, a period and with a lot of hand-holding. And then when I met my husband and went to the UK, I said, well, if I couldn't buy translation, medical translation, others have the same problem. So what can we do to create, a pool of medical translators? And that's how I got into the industry.
Wow, so such an incredible story, right? How translation, interpretation for so many of us is a real calling and just comes to us in different ways. Talk to us a little bit about Translation Commons. What is its mission? How did it get started?
So Translation Commons started from conversations during various conferences, industry conferences. And a lot of people were saying at the time, 2014 this is, that we have different sectors within the language industry and we don't speak to each other. Where can we find a kind of a forum or something that we can start talking to each other and have joint working groups? And at the time with Collaborative Commons, that was the idea. Let's get together and do something at Commons for the language industry. And we created the online, platform. But then, of course, it has evolved now, and we have a lot of working groups. We facilitate, a lot of students who need to, get experience. But our biggest and most important mission and vision was that languages were not equal, especially digitally. Languages don't have the same tools and availability, so we know translators in some minority languages don't even have CAT tools or interpreting tools. So our first motto and slogan was "No language and no linguist left behind." And that was since 2014, and we still work on that.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful slogan. I love that. And talk to me about what is the International Decade of Indigenous Languages?
Yeah, great question. So UNESCO started in 2019 an awareness campaign for the indigenous languages because they were getting endangered and disappearing. With the language, the cultural elements were disappearing as well. And there was a ton of stuff that are valuable to our world. And all of this was being lost because the language was being lost. So they created the International Year of Indigenous Languages, and we became partners. And of course, it was very easy for us. It was, exactly what we were preaching: no language and no linguist left behind. So we partnered with UNESCO for the International Year of Indigenous Languages. And there were two requests that UNESCO had to partners: create a couple of events and create a social media campaign. Well, we did a lot more than that. We created 35 events in that 1 year. We did a social media campaign, of course, as was expected. And of course, we decided that since we had so many language technology experts, we needed to write some guidelines for all those languages that needed to get started. So we wrote the first guideline, Zero to Digital. What does a language need to do if it has a script which isn't digital? And that was very successful. But the whole campaign, not just us, for UNESCO was extremely successful. And immediately, even before the year had finished, they got approval to create a decade. So the decade started in 2022. Until 2032, and it's the Decade of Indigenous Languages. And there is a global task force, there's a steering committee, there is a whole process in place that UNESCO has put, and an action plan. So they created the global action plan, and I was invited at the time to contribute for language technology.
Wow. And you said 35 events in 1 year. What are the upcoming events that are happening now in the next 12 to 24 months?
So in the last couple of years since the decade started, we have agreed with UNESCO to do 2 events a year. And both events are online. The first one is usually in spring. So our next event for 2024 is May 21st. It is the International Day of Cultural Diversity. And we will have a very short event of 2.5 hours online. It's being streamed by our YouTube channel and the UNESCO's Facebook for the International Decade of Indigenous Languages. And the second event that we have every year is on the day of the International Translation Day, September 30th, where we always do a 3-hour event where we focus the language technology on indigenous and minority languages. And we have experts coming, they're showcasing their projects, but also academics who are showcasing their research. And we, of course, have a lot of activists that share with us their stories.
Wow, sounds incredible. Where can we learn more information, and how can we get involved?
So please go to translationcommons.org, and you will find events on the top bar. Another thing that we do, which I have to say at this time, because there may be people who are interested to be involved, or there may be people who need our help, is we have a great team of language technology experts, and they create keyboards for scripts that are not digital. And we have created roughly between 10 and 15 keyboards right now, and we continue working with them. And we're working with UNESCO to create some workshops, in-person workshops, that communities can go and learn how to, facilitate the digitization themselves.
Oh, incredible. And these are conversations that actually we're going to get to have here on the LLD Conversations. Coming up, the next two sessions we're going to have are with two other individuals from Jeannette's team, and we're going to learn a little bit more about how this works. You want to talk a little bit about what they're going to be sharing, so make sure that people come tune back in?
Great, yes. It will be two people from our team, and they're experts in their fields. So that would be great. They can give you a lot more details.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Stay tuned. We'll have more information coming out there. And as a for today, I just want to say, Jeannette, thank you so much for being here and giving us a little bit of information on what you all are doing on Translation Commons. It's so exciting to hear about how you are taking these indigenous languages that without this kind of support and education, these languages can disappear, and languages do disappear, right? I mean, I think every year we lose a certain amount of languages, and so it's incredible that you're spearheading and being such a pioneer here to make sure these languages not only just still exist, but they actually can thrive and have the digitization component involved to have these keyboards. So really exciting to learn more. And I know there's going to be a lot of us that are going to want to attend these events and get involved. So please do check out translationcommons.org for more information there. And we'll leave that link here down below.
Thank you, David.
Thank you, Jeannette.